My wife Evelyn and I met at the birthday party of our mutual friend Leo. Well, rather, my friend, since Evelyn was his sister's best friend. We both come from the capital, but life brought us some unexpected surprises, and we found ourselves outside of it. We met there, got married, and spent 5 wonderful years together. Evelyn is one of those women who's both elegant and full of life. She's slender, bright, and energetic, with a love for big social gatherings. She's romantic, but knows when to be firm. And when it comes to running a household, she's absolutely top-notch. As for me, I'm more down-to-earth, not much of a romantic, and definitely not a fan of big parties. I'm someone who appreciates peace and quiet, nature, and a more measured pace of life. Our honeymoon phase, as people call it, lasted all of one evening at a restaurant, which, by the way, was my friend's idea. That's when I asked Evelyn to marry me, and she happily said yes. We didn't waste any time. That very week, we applied for the marriage license. Just 2 months later, we were married, moved into my apartment, and began our quiet life together. But after a while, Evelyn began to feel that staying at home all day was too much. So she found something to do. She rented a room and started organizing events and creating holiday decorations. Meanwhile, I had a good job in the energy sector that kept me busy. Our work schedules were so busy that we only saw each other for dinner or on weekends. But despite the fuss, we had a warm and happy relationship. People often said that we were the perfect couple. We never quarreled. We had no problems with jealousy. Everything went smoothly. And then there was my friend, who would always joke, "How does such a bubbly person like Evelyn put up with a grumpy, boring guy like you?" The answer was pretty simple. We didn't get in each other's way. We respected each other's space and had our own things to focus on. Evelyn spent most weekends hanging out with her friends, and if things were calm at work, she'd head to the capital to visit her sister. Meanwhile, I stayed busy with my own hobbies, like hunting or fishing, especially when it wasn't even the season for it. That's how we lived, happily, without getting in each other's way, each enjoying our own version of life. It's finally time for my peace of mind to start coming around. The turning point came when Evelyn started suggesting that we move from where we come from. Hey, have you come yet? Evelyn returned from work, taking off her jacket in the hallway. "You're early today. You want to have dinner?" Of course. I'd already been home for an hour, had a shower, and was lounging on the couch. I called my sister today. They're building this amazing new apartment complex next door. The apartments are gorgeous, and the prices are great. I think if we sell ours, we could cover most of the cost and take a mortgage for the rest. Laris, why would we leave this apartment? It's been good to us. I don't get it. It was clear as day, though. Evelyn wanted to move to the capital, and that really bothered me. "Well, Ethan," Evelyn paused her pacing and sat down across from me. "Think about it. It's the capital. There are more people, more opportunities. Our parents, my sister, they're all there. Doesn't it sound great?" She reached for my hand, giving me that look, the one that always made it hard to say no. But what out here? This place is just a quiet little town surrounded by forests. No hustle, no chaos, just peace. I could feel myself getting frustrated, but I kept my cool. It's quiet here. Clean air, no annoying distractions, and certainly no exes popping up like they do in the city. It suits me just fine. Ethan, let's not go there again, okay? I rolled my eyes. I loved how we were living, but she wasn't giving up. If you keep pushing this, we might end up losing what we've got, I said, trying to keep things calm. Why rock the boat when everything's fine? Evelyn kissed me on the cheek before heading to the bathroom, but then stopped midway and turned back. But think about it, baby. The main office is located in the capital. Moving will not be difficult for you, and you will still be able to go hunting and fishing. It won't change anything. Honey, please. I interrupted, trying my best to sound affectionate. I'm begging you. Drop the idea. You can visit your relatives whenever you want. I'm not stopping you, even though I'd rather you didn't, but let's just leave it at that. I tried to give her my most pleading look. She smiled. I'm still going to hold on to a little hope, though. I'm going to my sister's this weekend, but I'll be back by Wednesday. Will you miss me? I'll be hunting. I'll be back Monday night. I'll make it work, I said, trying to keep things light. Great, she said, and off she went. The week flew by unnoticed. I came home from work, packed my things and went hunting. Leo was with us this time. But as soon as we got to the hunting grounds, something happened that changed everything. After we unloaded the cars, Leo and I sat down for a smoke near the house. Hey, do you hunt often? He asked. Yep, I haven't missed a trip yet. I took a drag on my cigarette. And how does Evelyn feel about it? What do you mean, how? I replied, that's usually fine with her. She often visits the city on weekends, visiting her parents or sister. She doesn't stay at home. Leo lowered his eyes, clearly uncomfortable. Listen, Ethan, I don't want to get into your business, but I was in the capital once and saw Evelyn there. She was walking through the mall with some guy. They looked like a couple, you know. My heart skipped a beat. Are you sure it was her? I tried to sound calm, but doubt was creeping in. Yeah, I'm sure. It was definitely her. And then I saw them getting into a black Nissan in the parking lot. I felt the cigarette burning down in my hand, but I didn't move. My mind was racing, the thought of my wife with someone else gnawing at me. But I kept it together. I stood up, put out the cigarette, and walked into the house, where they were setting the table and getting ready for a snack. This conversation kept spinning in my head. Thoughts about betrayal, how, when, and why it could happen. I didn't last long. The next morning, I packed my things and went to my wife's place. The 3-hour drive felt like it took a lifetime. Every minute was full of frustration, confusion, and a gnawing sense of betrayal. I didn't bother calling my wife. It didn't make sense. Looking for her in a big city, it wasn't the best option. But to visit her sister, it seemed like a more logical option. As I pulled up to the building, I saw it. A black Nissan, parked right in the spot where Luna usually parked her car. I walked past it and entered the building with a local resident, then quickly made my way up the stairs to the 7th floor. I rang the doorbell, but it was broken, which turned out to be a small blessing. I glanced out the window in the hallway, and that's when I saw it. Across the street, there was the new apartment complex Evelyn had been telling me about, the one she wanted us to buy into. I could hear voices coming from behind the door, and the pit in my stomach deepened. The sounds were too intimate, too familiar. My mind raced, and before I even thought about what I was doing, I reached for the door. It wasn't locked. I slowly opened it and stepped inside. The sounds from the bedroom were unmistakable. I walked toward the room, and as I cracked the door open at first, I couldn't believe my eyes. But then, when the scene registered, it hit me like a punch to the gut. There was Evelyn, sitting on the bed with another man. It was clear they weren't hiding, not even trying to be discreet. There was no guilt in her eyes, just a strange sense of relief. It was as if this had become a part of her life, a habit she'd grown used to. I couldn't breathe. I slammed the door shut and stepped back, my legs feeling like they might give out beneath me. I wanted to leave, to walk away and never look back, but something inside me, something deep, screamed that it wasn't that simple. How could I just walk away? Evelyn and I had been together for 5 years. Were those years all lies? Or had it only started recently? How much more was she hiding from me? I don't know how long I stood there, frozen in that dark entryway, tortured by questions that I couldn't answer. Then suddenly, my phone rang downstairs. I pressed myself against the wall, instinctively trying to stay out of sight. It was Leo. I could feel my heart pounding as I answered, knowing I had to keep my voice level. "Where are you? Is everything okay?" I could barely hear him over the sound of my own thoughts crashing through my head. I tried to keep it together, but I could feel my voice betraying me. "It's okay, Leo. Simply personal matters. I'm dealing with something." He didn't press me any further, just wished me luck, and I hung up, feeling more alone than ever. I stayed still for a long time. The minutes stretched on, and I couldn't shake the feeling that everything I thought I knew was crumbling. The questions in my mind were suffocating me, but I still had no answers. So, I turned around and quietly made my way back to the car. As I drove, I realized my life had completely changed. Everything that once felt solid and secure now seemed like it was slipping through my fingers like sand. I wanted to make sense of it, to understand what had happened, to know where the truth ended and the lies began. But I couldn't. I was lost.